Just as we did in the last lesson, today we are going to look a little deeper at a specific line of code and how we can use it in our graphical program. Today we will use pairs of x, y coordinates, frames, and the def function in your code. As we discussed previously, the canvas that is displayed using Simple GUI has a slightly different way of using an XY grid system. Position 0, 0 is in the upper left-hand corner. And as we work our way right and down, the X and Y values increase. The benefit that this has over a normal XY plane we use in math is that we never have to deal with negative X and Y values. Here is some code we will start with. Most of it you have seen before. Import Simple GUI, draw handler, create frame, but there are two new lines. The first one is simple. At the bottom here we have frame.set canvas background, and we can set the color of the background. We can use RGB values, hex values, or named values like we see here. Now, the last new piece is what is in our function, drawPoint. The drawPoint method takes a list of two numbers, an X and Y value, and a color. According to the new X, Y coordinate system that Simple GUI uses, this will make a point at 100, 100 on the canvas. One last thing about the list of two values, 100 and 100. Notice that these values are in square brackets. Technically, we can use square brackets here or parentheses, but either way, just remember that we need to group them together so Python knows it is an XY coordinate pair. Okay, so enough talking about this. Let's see the end result. We run this and right at 100, 100, and we may even have to zoom in to see it. We have a single red dot. Okay, so this wasn't too exciting, but it is a step in the right direction, which is understanding the XY coordinate system. Let's incorporate a for loop to try to add a little bit more flair to this program. Let's do for I in range and do 0 to 400, counting by fives. As a reminder, this will, each iteration of the loop, change the value of I to 0, 5, 10, 15, up to but not including 400, counting by fives. So, the first time through the loop, it draws a point at 0, 0, then 5, 5, then 10, 10, etc. Let's see how this looks. We run the code. We have a diagonal set of dots. This time we don't need to zoom in to see the result because the many dots makes it easier to see. We can turn this diagonal into an X by copying the for loop and changing the Y value from I to 400-I. What this will do is start the Y value at the max or the bottom, and then as the X value increases, the Y value decreases, making the X. We run. And there it is. What do you think would happen if we change the increment value in the range function from 5 to 1? Well, let's do it and find out. We run it. And now it is actually an X because we have added more dots along the diagonal, 5 times as many. And we can combine this with what we know from the previous lesson about color. If we add a color variable into each for loop and also use some math magic, now we get our X on a red background, and the lines are going from black to white to black, a nice fade of color. Again, as we add more and more code to our toolbox, we can start to combine all the things we learned in order to make some cool things. Today we learned a little bit more about the XY coordinate system, along with the code to draw a point. Coming up, we will learn an easier way to draw lines and even shapes on our canvas. See you in the next lesson.